Hey guys, welcome. My name is Dariel Cummins. I'm the media director here at Church.tv. And a couple years back, we released a video going over the ATEM 2ME production switcher, and now it's considered the legacy model. But basically going over our switcher, kind of a little bit of our control room, like graphics, our monitor setup, things like that. And since then, it's received over 55,000 views, and I can't tell you the number of emails and questions we've received all around the globe from churches, schools, startup production companies. I mean, so many avenues. And so we wanted to create this video as an update to that video. As you can tell, the room's a little bit different, but just wanted to give a quick rundown of our setup real quick, and then we'll jump into audio, because I know there were some audio questions, and then what we'll do is we'll go back into our signal flow from source to destination. So we are still using the ATEM 2ME switcher, but right now this is the new production switcher. Our last one bit the dust, unfortunately. But we have the ATEM 2ME switcher, we have the broadcast panel now, and I'll explain that later on. We also have two media computers, one for video and media and graphics, the other one for our TV wall, and I'll explain more about that later. We have a station right here set up for video shading, color correcting the cameras, making sure they match. And then we have another station set up for live stream moderation and things like that. So before I get too deep into that, I want to jump over to audio. So here I am over at the broadcast audio room. All right, so right now we are in our audio booth. This is our broadcast audio booth. And the reason why the audio guy has his own room is to help him focus on the mix. Why is that? Well, initially the broadcast audio room was over right above our sanctuary, and we were getting a lot of room bleeding, meaning that the room mix, the front of house mix, was being bled through the walls and doors and windows and things like that into the broadcast audio, and it was affecting the live mix. So we moved them over here, and then when we moved our control room over, we kept them in here because when you're mixing, it's a little distracting when you hear ready one, take one, hey, adjust the iris and things like that. So he gets his own room. It's sound treated. And so we've got everything set up in here, but the importance of having a broadcast audio console is like I said, really important. Why is that important though? Well, when you're mixing for something like an iPhone, let me pull mine out, like an iPhone or a computer or something like that, you want to mix through something like studio monitors versus a like $50,000 sound system that has massive speakers and subs and things like that. That's in a acoustically treated massive room and things like that. The reason why he's up here is to really isolate his mixing for recording and broadcasting. And then we're also able to do multi-track recording, and I'll show you that in a second, but able to do multi-track recording, and then they're able to mix it through here and for post and things like that. So I want to show you some of the equipment we use up in here. So we have the Midas M32 Console. The reason why it's the Midas M32 instead of the Behringer is because when we bought it at the time, the preamps were different, much better, and we upgraded from a Roland M400 system. The Roland was great, but we were just needing to upgrade, and so the Midas M32 really did it for us. Moving on to the screens and stuff. Our speakers those are important because it's audio. These are the Rocket 5s. We have them in here for broadcast audio, and then we also have them in our control room as well. So they're the Rocket 5s, and then we have a KRK subwoofer as well. But moving over to the screens, we also, what we have is we have the multi-view for the cameras and stuff. And the reason why is because sometimes things don't get communicated, like, hey, so-and-so's going up with, a green mic. That forgets to be communicated to the audio, broadcast audio, and so he's able to see, oh, hey, Pastor Jimmy's going up and he's got the green mic. That way he's able to be prepared. So that's the reason why we have that up in here. Moving over, this screen is really just the mix feed that goes live. And then moving over here, this is our multi-track recording software. It's the Reaver or Reaper software. I always forget. I'll caption what it is. But that is connected via USB into a PC computer, USB from the M32 into a computer, and then it multi-track records, full 32, I believe 32 channel recording. And then what's great about it is that we were able to actually, when we go to multi-track edit and things like that, we're actually able to use the M32 as the digital audio, interface unit. We're able to actually, mix using the faders and things like that. So that's a real benefit of that software. So that's pretty much it for the broadcast audio. The next thing we're going to talk about is really our signal flow, video signal flow, and things like that. So here we go. All right, so now that we're back in our control room, you can tell it's probably a little bit different than the first video we shot. Now, Pastor Dennis, our senior pastor, lead pastor here, he made that video, and he was the one that helped get it set up. And so he's handed it over to me, and I'm actually his son, Dariel Cummins. And so right now, at the time of shooting this video, we just recently expanded our control room. So I want to go over the brief history of that. So the room that you saw us in was in our auditorium. And that room was really just like a skinny hallway we were able to put a couple desks in and a rack. And so we moved into another room in the church right next to the audio broadcast room. And at the time it was just a closet. So we converted that room into our video control room. And then we quickly outgrew that, realizing that we needed more space, positions, and things like that. So we have just recently upgraded our control room, or expanded our control room. We have 2 desks now. And each position we have, and we'll cut to some B-roll shots as well, but we have our directing over here. And so the director, he's able to sit there and direct, or we could have a technical director sitting there, and then the director calling shots. So for those that don't know what a technical director is, a technical director just punches the buttons, cuts, keys, all that stuff. And so he really just pushes the buttons for the director so he can focus on producing the show. Moving down, we have our media computers. So one computer is its purpose is to be graphics and media for the live stream, or for our mixing. And then the computer after that is really just a computer for our TV wall. So we've added a TV wall since our video. And so we now have a TV wall. So we have a separate computer for that. And then right here, this is our video shading station. So we have a broadcast production monitor, controllers, we have a punch button router, scopes over there. And then moving down from there, we have the ATEM software on a computer for getting into, setting up things and stuff like that. And then moving down there, we have our setup for live streaming, basically live stream moderation, programming the live stream, things like that. So that's the positions we have in here. In terms of our setup and things like that, we are still 720p, 5994. We're looking at going to 1080p, hopefully within the next couple of years. But for us, if you know how to really light your subject and where to place your lenses at, you can get really good looking content. I've even had people come up and ask me if we're 4K, which, is a testament to what you can do with lighting and good lenses and things like that. So we're still 720p, 5994. And what I wanted to really talk about in this video is our signal flow, and really answer a lot of the questions that you guys had in regards to like cameras, cabling, all kinds of stuff. So without further ado, I want to get into that. So when you're producing a video, I should say when you're creating a video system, you have 2 pieces. You have a source and a destination. So source outputs signal, and the destination receives the signal. So that's really the basics behind a video setup or a camera. We could take it like your sensor is your source, and then your destination is your memory card. That's just an example. So for us, we have 9 sources right now. We're hoping to add a few more sources later on. And those 9 sources are 6 cameras and 3 computers. So for our cameras, we have 2 cameras in the back, and those 2 cameras, they are manned, and they are both Grass Valley LDK 4000s with Canon 22x zoom lenses. They have about a 5-inch viewfinder monitor. They're on Cartoni tripods, They use a Clearcom audio system, and then transmission system, which means basically I'm sending the signal to the control room, or I'm sending the signal from the control room to the camera. The transmission system on those cameras is a triax system, which means instead of running like an SDI cable or multiple SDI cables to the camera, multiple audio cables to the camera, a comm cable to the camera, lens control to the camera, camera control to the camera. Everything runs through a big cable, triax cable, digital triax. Right now, the standard for that type of cabling, or the standard for cables that send and receive signal, large bandwidth and things like that, is fiber optic cable now. But we use digital triax, and so the transmission system, it outputs digital triax, or it outputs the signal, goes up to the control room into a base station, a box, and then on that box it has a breakout unit, and then that box is a breakout unit. And what it does is it outputs, your video, your audio, as well as it will take video and audio. And then what you're also able to do is control the iris on a camera. So for example, if you look back here, you can see that I'm adjusting the iris here. I can adjust all the camera settings: black level, knee, gamma, matrix, all that kind of stuff. So we have two Grass Valley LDK4000s in the back. Moving over to our jib, which is camera 4. Camera 1 and 2 are in the back. Our jib is camera 4. That is a Grass Valley LDX75 camera, or Focus Live camera. And so that is a newer Grass Valley camera that has an 18 times zoom lens, and then that also is on a Jony Jib with a pan and tilt head controller, along with a zoom, focus, and iris controller. We just don't have the iris set up because that's controlled up here. Now, the reason why we have two different Grass Valley cameras is because we've been very blessed by a close friend of ours. He's donated he's allowed us to use his cameras, I should say, not donated, but he's allowed us to use his cameras. So God has blessed us very well. Moving over to our mobile camera is a JVC GY-HM600 camera. And that camera, what it is it's a camcorder 1/3 inch. Now, incredible lens. If you're looking at getting started out with video productions, please use that JVC camera. It's designed for this type of live production shooting. It has a 23 times lens that's parfocal. Great image stabilizer if you go handheld, and then just handles noise and low light very well. And so our transmission system on that is a Swit wireless transmission system, and then our comm unit is a Clearcom wireless transmission system. And so that way the camera's wireless and he doesn't have to worry about anything. Moving on to our other two cameras, we have 6. Those are point of view cameras, and in the last video they were GoPros. We have then upgraded to Marshall CV502 point of view cameras, and the reason why is because the GoPros, after a bit of time, started to go out, have connection issues. It wouldn't connect to the switcher properly. You also needed a HDMI to SDI converter. So we upgraded to the Marshall CV502s, and that has a HD SDI out on it. So we're able to output, SDI video, or we're able to connect SDI video cable to it. We've eliminated a converter box, and it's just been really useful. And those are just mounted on just like music stand poles. Moving on to our other 3 sources, those are computers. So I said earlier we have a media computer, and that media computer is a Mac Pro, and that Mac Pro uses ProPresenter. All of our media computers, or computers, use ProPresenter software. And so that computer it's a Mac Pro 2012 model, and that has a DeckLink 4K Extreme card in it that outputs a media and a alpha key, which allows us to luma key or alpha key in the switcher. And then moving down, we have our TV wall computer, and that's just a Mac Mini, and we're just going HDMI out into an HDMI to SDI converter box from Blackmagic. And then our other computer is just a Windows PC. I think it's an i5 or something, and we're just going HDMI out to SDI using a Blackmagic box. and we're hoping to alpha key that soon. So that would be, I believe, 14. No, 4. I forget how many sources, but that would add one more source. So all of those sources then go into our video router. So since the video, we've upgraded, or added, I should say, a Blackmagic 40x40 video router. And this is the 6G version. And so the reason why we added this video router is really to help us in our outputs. And I'll explain more later on in the switcher, but the switcher is very limited to the number of outputs it has. So the router was really just to help us with the outputs, distributing throughout the building and things like that. So our signal flow goes from the camera and computers into our Videohub router as an input. And then what we do is we take one of the outputs on the Videohub router and we send it into the ATEM switcher. Now for our ATEM switcher, we're using the 2ME production switcher, which is the 6G version. At the time of this video, the 4ME switcher has been out for, I think, 6 months or so. And so we have the 2ME production switcher, and then we also have the broadcast panel, the 2ME broadcast panel. So the first ME goes directly to our projector, and then the second ME goes to our live stream. And then we have the aux outs. And so the aux outs, aux 1 through 4, are set for our recorders, and I'll get to those in a second, but those are set to our recorders. And then, so we take all of our outputs and we pipe it into our Videohub as an input. So from our switcher, we take the outputs into our Videohub as an input, and then from the inputs, we put it as an output, and then we send it to its appropriate sources. Now, delay, is that an issue? We found that by the time it gets to, say, the source, or sorry, the destination, like a recorder or a projector, especially IMAG, because that's really where you'll experience delay. We found that I think maybe added 1 extra frame of delay by using the router as a middleman for our signal flow, which is not bad. So not much delay there. But we take the switcher, as I said, we take the output of the switcher, we send it into the Videohub as an input, and then we route the signal out to our destinations. Now, our destinations, how many do we have? What are they? Things like that. So we have, number 1, we have a live stream encoder. And for our live streaming, we use Invintus Media. They're located in Seattle, Washington. So we use Invintus Media, and then from there we're able to route out to YouTube Live, Facebook Live, our website. And our website, we use the Church online platform by Live Church for web streaming. And so we use Invintus Media as our streaming provider. And then our encoder is a Teradek Vidiu Pro. And then we're just using a SDI to HDMI converter to send signal into the Teradek unit. So that's our live stream setup. So we have a live streaming output. We have a projector, and our projector is a digital projections laser projector. So a very high-end projector. We have 4 recorders, and so our recorders are, we have Atomos Shogun studio recorders, so there's two recorders, 1 unit, 2 recorders. Then we have 2 HyperDeck recorders. I found that the HyperDeck's actually corrupt media, so I'm not a big fan of that, so we're going to be upgrading to more Atomos Shogun recorders. So we have 4 recorders, and our recorders, they record the master feed, which is the ME2 program mix, camera 1, camera 2, and camera 4. And the reason why is because we don't use the mobile camera as much during our production as we do the Jib camera, camera 4, so we just record those cameras. So we have 4 recorders. Then we have a backup stream that goes to a PC that uses the live stream, the live stream software. We have 1 output that goes to our shading station, and then at our shading station we use a Swit 21.5-inch monitor along with the Blackmagic Ultrascopes measurements, and then we have the Grass Valley OCP 400s. We have 3 of those for our 3 Grass Valley cameras. And then we have the Blackmagic hardware control router. I forget the actual name of it, but it's not the one with the screen. So we have that for shading, and all this does is I just press it, and it will pull up the camera input. So as you see right there. So that's another output. We have another output, as you saw in the broadcast audio. One of them is our ME2 multi-view right over here, and that goes to him so he can see. And then we have different televisions in our church, kids' rooms that we output the signal to as well. So that's pretty much our entire setup. You know, we're very happy with, you know, what we have, you know, equipment changes and things like that. Oh, another thing I was going to talk about was the video wall. I wanted to talk about that. We have a video wall. It's 3x3, so a total of nine TVs. And in that video wall, there's 70-inch TVs, and we send an SDI cable down. That's one of our outputs. SDI cable down, and we just go to a SDI to HDMI converter, and then we go HDMI into an Apantac video wall unit. And so from there, it goes to a Cat5 to HDMI converter, and then we go HDMI into the TVs. Now, I want to talk briefly about video walls because I know a lot of people, they see them and they go, wow, that's so cool. To properly do a video wall, you need to invest the money. There are some things that you can DIY. For example, this desk, we built ourselves. We just use Unistrut, some particle board, I believe, and just laminate. We made these desks ourselves. The video wall, we had to get the actual professional TV wall mountings because if, say, you mount a TV wall and say it's off by like 4 or 5 centimeters, that really makes a big deal in terms of having a nice video wall image. So, you know, we have the professional video wall mounting, we have the professional video wall brain unit, and then the TVs, displays, that's up to you. We just got 70-inch TVs from Costco, and we actually ended up dremeling part of the corner out so we could fit the little eye receiver unit in for the remote control. So that was a fun task. But, you know, like I said, there's certain things that you can DIY, and then there's certain things that you need to actually invest the money in. So, you know, like I said, DIY a desk, DIY a room, but invest the money into the proper equipment that you need. So again, my name is Jony Cummins. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to share it out with your friends. And if this is something that you want to see more of, more maybe in-depth videos on shading or directing or live production, things like that, just, you know, let us know. And be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. So thank you guys for watching and have a great day.